What up, y'all? How are y'all doing tonight? It's a little late night chat. I just wanted to come on and talk about how I had just got back from Vegas, y'all. And what I did, I ended up doing a timeshare with Hilton Honor Grand Vacations. And so last year I was talking about how I wanted to use all points and cash back for my travel for 2025. And when I was talking about that, I was just like, okay, I only had probably 50,000 points, if I even had that many. And so I was just like, how am I going to do this? But then I ended up getting the timeshare from Hilton Grand for like 100. It was actually $179, not $199. But we'll get into that. So I just wanted to come on here and chit chat for a little bit and see how everybody's doing. Once you come in, let me know where you are, where you at. So I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and I just wanted to chit chat for a little bit. So let me share my screen. So y'all, I had ended up going to Vegas, but when I had went to Vegas, I ended up going to Arizona. And so I did a tour in Arizona and I had such a good time. And so I had went to Horseshoe Bend and I went to Antelope Canyon. And so I had a great time. So I did a little bit of everything while I was there. It was so good. I went to a museum while I was there. I did the Michael Jackson, the one Cirque du Soleil. And so I did a whole lot of stuff while I was there. But I got to do it by the way of doing the Hilton Honor presentation. And so what had happened, I had ended up, so last year around November, I had ended up getting the email to where if I was to pay $179, I would get 50,000 points. And so I had went ahead and did that because really kind of going back, what happened was last year in January, I got the Hilton Honor Surpass. And so probably 6 months in, I started getting emails from the Hilton Grand Vacations. And so I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. But I didn't do it immediately. And so they were sending me some offers for like 25,000 and stuff like that. But then for around Black Friday, that's when I had got this offer for the 50,000 points. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I called them up and I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. But y'all, once I called them up, they were going to give me the 50,000 points plus a $200 certificate. So I was like, cool, I'm going to do it. So when I was going to sign up, I had 12 months to be able to pick a place. So I could do Vegas, Gatlinburg, Arizona, Virginia, Orlando. So it was like a couple of places that I could have went. But see, I already knew that I wanted to go to Vegas because I wanted to go to Arizona. But I didn't set it up immediately. And so they were calling me and emailing me and stuff like that. So I want to say in March, they were calling me, but even if I answered, I was just like, well, not right now. So then in March, I had got the email right here where I was going to get 80,000 points. And so I was like, man, that's going to be good. And so I was just like, so I called them up and see down here it says that I had to travel by April the 30th. And so when I called them, they were just like, I was going to be able to get the 50,000 plus the $200 certificate along with the 80,000 points. So I was going to be getting 130,000 points plus the $200 certificate. So I was just like, it's a no-brainer. So I went last week and it was 4 days, 3 nights, and I had a great time. But see, the only thing is, even though it says that it's on the strip, because I picked Vegas. It's really on the, I would say it's over by the Sahara. It's between the Sahara and the what is another hotel? It's more so on the end opposed to where all the stuff is, because normally when I go to Vegas, I like to stay at the Hotel Paris, because right at the Hotel Paris, that's where everything is at. And so I'll just be doing a whole lot of walking and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, if I'm gonna be getting, 4 days, 3 nights, I'm just gonna go ahead and go. And so that's what I did. And so last week, I just got back yesterday, and so it was like at a hotel. So it was like at a hotel, and then what happened was I had to pick a day to do the presentation. And so the presentation was only, I would say, maybe like 90 minutes, but y'all, they didn't even really heckle me or anything. It was a whole lot better than I had suspected, because I had done one maybe 2 years ago with when I had got my IHG. So that was with the Holiday Inn Vacations, and it wasn't too bad even when I did it that time. And so so I had went in, so they'll show you just like a little presentation, and then you'll go back and you'll speak to somebody, and then they'll try to get you to like for 25,000 points, you'll have to pay $600 or $700 a month, plus you'll have the maintenance fee. And so that's where they really try to get you. But I was just like, no. So I probably said no like 2 times, and then he was just like, well, I'm gonna bring this other person in. And then when he brought the other person in, so y'all, even though I didn't sign up for a to actually do the timeshare, what I ended up doing was I did end up signing up to do like I want to say it's an 8-day, 7-night vacation. And then with this one, you can go to Hawaii, you can go to Cabo, and then plus you can go to New York and a whole lot of other places. But I was just like, yo, I'm going to go to probably Hawaii or Cabo. And so it ended up costing, I had to put like $295 down, and then I have to pay within, I think, like 10 months or so, or I could pay it off sooner. And then it ended up being like $1,800. So you have up to 18 months to be able to do it. And so then once I was done with the presentation and everything, they put the points. So I have, so I ended up getting 130,000 points along with the $200 certificate. So, I was pretty excited about it. And so now I have, I think I got about almost 190,000 Hilton points. And so I am, I'm glad about it. But so what I'll say is, if you do call Hilton Grand Vacations, or if you start getting emails, even if you do sign up for it, I would probably say not to book it immediately. That way, if they have kind of specials, then you can get a better offer, because really what they're trying to do is once you pay for it. So let's say if you pay the $179, really, and if you don't book it that day, they're just going to be calling you to try to get you to come. And so I think what they'll do is they'll have other offers to where you can get, let's say 80,000 points. But then also when I was there was a lady that was checking out that was beside me, and they were able to get a cruise to, I want to say it was through the Royal Caribbean. And I believe it was going to be 5 days. And I'm just like, dang, how could I get, let me see, how could I get a cruise? But I was just like, still, I was getting what you can say that the 130,000 points was going to be equivalent to what, $800 or $900, or probably more than that. Plus I was getting a $200 certificate. So, that ended up being pretty good. So you'll have to let me know. Have you ever done one of the timeshare presentations, and do you think it was worth it? Now I'm gonna say I think that it was worth it, but you'll have to let me know. But I want to shout out Silky Black, and he says I'm going to Gatlinburg in the summer, and so I think that that's pretty cool. Um, now did you do the Hilton Grand? Because I know you can pick Gatlinburg, and I've been to Gatlinburg maybe two or three times, because I'm in Tennessee anyway, and so Gatlinburg is not, too far. And yeah, so I think that it was pretty good. But yeah, and so I had a pretty good time in Vegas. And so what I did when I got there, I had went to the Venetian. So I went to the Venetian and I ate at the Lux Cafe, and that was pretty good. And then the next day, so y'all had to get up at like 4:30, 4:15, 4:30, because I did the tour. And so I had booked the tour to Antelope Canyon, because when I had went to Vegas, I want to say over a year ago, I had got these pamphlets, and so this is for Antelope Canyon and Horseshoe Bend, and so they had been on my desk, and I'm just like, y'all, I have to go. And so I had been wanting to go for a while. I had even been talking about it, and because really I was talking about doing that, and I was talking about doing kayaking. I wanted to do kayaking too, but I ended up not doing kayaking. But y'all, it was kind of cool. So the first day, it was maybe like 75. I don't even know that it was 80 degrees. But then like the next 2 days, it was kind of chilly. It was very windy, and it was maybe like 65 degrees. And so y'all, I was kind of freezing a little bit, because here in Nashville, it started to get warm. And then I go there and I'm just like, man, it was kind of chilly, even though, it was in Vegas. But I think that it's gonna start getting warmer. And so I would say, because I've been to Vegas in April before, but it was more so at the end of April. And I've been in May, I've been in August, and August is too hot for me around that time. And then I've been in December, and it was kind of cold to me in December. And so I was just like, dang. So I didn't do as much walking. I called Ubers most of the time, because one, I wasn't like right where everything was. Even though I was on the strip, I was a little bit further away. And so, because normally when I go to Vegas, like I'm pretty much doing a whole lot of walking, but this time I didn't. Let me see. So Silky Black said, no, I pay for the cabin. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, I think that you're gonna have a great time. They have so many things to do in Gatlinburg. And so I know you're gonna have a good time. Yeah, I like Gatlinburg, get the cabins and all that kind of stuff. And so, but y'all, when I had so that I got there on a Tuesday. So I got there on a Tuesday. And so I went to the Sphere, and I had a really good time at the Sphere. And let me see, because I had posted some things on my, let me see. You'll have to go over to my community tab. Let me share it. And let me see. Yeah, so I had went to Antelope Canyon. Y'all, it was so pretty. Those were a couple of more of the pictures from Antelope Canyon. But let me see if I can go over to the shorts. And so when you go to the Sphere, they have I want to say it's 5 different robots. And y'all, these robots, you can ask the robots any question that you want. They speak different languages. They can, and it is so cool. So the lady, she'll ask you, well, what kind of question do you want to ask? And so y'all, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna ask the robot some credit questions. And so that's what I did. And so I asked, because it's just like it's five different it's five different robots. So I asked each robot a different question, but it was pretty cool. And so I would say for anybody, if you go to Vegas, you definitely have to check out the Sphere because it is so cool. And so what they'll do is it starts because I want to say I had went to the 7:45 show, and then they'll open the doors maybe like 30 minutes before, and so you'll get to tour it. And so that's what I did first. I toured, and so then that's when you'll talk to the different robots and stuff like that. And so that's pretty cool. And then they have like a sound section to where they'll show you how the actual sphere works. And then you'll go in, to the actual sphere, and they'll show you the so I did a postcard from Earth, and it was really nice. I'm just like, if they have concerts there, so I know they had YouTube there before, and then I think the Eagles are going to be there, but I'm just like, if they have other concerts there, it will be really good because like the acoustics in there is really good, and even like the seat from the postcard from Earth, it seemed like it's moving, but it's not. And then but it was so cool. So I would say anybody that's going to go to Vegas, I definitely thought that it was worth it. And then I also went to the art museum there, and it's more like an immersion museum to where they'll have they have several different areas for you to go, and it'll have like the ocean, and then they have this one thing to where you can color and draw, and then it's like different animals, and then it'll post it on the, let me see if I can pull it up, but it was pretty good. Hold on, let me see. It was pretty good. And so let me see. Yeah, so it has different it has like a flower scene, and then it has like an ocean scene, and then it has like a tiger scene, but it is really cool. And so it's very interactive. And then it even had like a Vegas scene. Yeah, it was nice. And then even like the flower scene that they had, you could almost, it even had like a flower scent. So it was very kind of relaxing, and you just take your time there. It was so pretty. I really enjoyed it. And then you can pay to get it. They said it was like you can get tea, and when you get the tea, it'll even have it to where it'll put like a little picture in there, so that's immersive as well. But it was very nice. Yeah, and so what you do is you can they have different animals, and I did a zebra, and I tried to put the major change group on there, but it didn't come through all the way. And then you scan it in, and it is so, and it's like, adults and kids coloring and stuff in there, but it was fun. Yeah. So I would say if you can go, I would say most definitely do it, because it's just other stuff, to do while you're there. Let me see. But yeah, I had a great time there. And then what else did I do? And then I ended up going to the Michael Jackson the one, and so that was good. But I'm just like I was kind of tired a little bit. Hold on, let's see. So you pay $179 for the, and then what else do you have to pay? That's it. So all I had to do was pay the $179. Here, let me share it. So I paid the $179. So you can see here, I paid $179. And then really you pay $179, but I got 130,000 points plus a $200 certificate. And it's the Hilton. So they have the Hilton Grand Vacation. And so it is like a hotel. And so I picked Vegas. And so it's on the strip, but I would say it's all the way it's on the north end of the strip. So it's all the way kind of at the end. So it's in between the Conrad Hotel and the Sahara Hotel. And but it's closer to the Venetian and the Horseshoe, if I'm not making a mistake. So it's kind of off in there, but I usually like to stay more so at the Paris Hotel because that's where you're at, everything is around there. But see, where the Hilton Grand Vacation is, it's all the way on the backside. So to me, and then I had went by myself. So I had took a solo. This was basically a solo trip for me. And so I was just like, man, I'm not just going to be out there walking. Because to me, where that was, it wasn't as many people compared to, let's say, when I stay at the Paris Hotel, it's a whole lot of people around there. And so, feel a little bit safer, even if I'm by myself. But for this one, since I was all the way on the one end, like I pretty much did Ubers for everything. So I didn't do too much walking. But I will tell you, so I had went into the Hilton portal. And when you go into the Hilton portal, this was actually the first time that I had seen this. So let's say if you're going to book a room, but at the top, it'll have where you can do the Hilton Grand Vacation. And so that was the first time that I had saw that. And so when you do that, it'll take you here. And so like here, it'll tell you, so Vegas, you can do a 4-day, 3-night for $249, but you only get 15,000 points. But then see this one, they have a limited time offer to where you can do the Vegas 4-day, 3-night for $149 and you get 50,000 points. So, but then let's say if you go ahead and book this, then I would say, well, I don't know for this one, you maybe would have to. So what happened for me, they had actually sent me the offer because I think once I had got the Hilton Honor Surpass, I think it just triggers for them to send you the Hilton Grand offer. Because like if you pick Orlando or Vegas from here, then you're going to be automatically signing up for Vegas compared to like when I did it, they sent me an email. So they sent me an email with this special to where I would get the 50,000 points. And then I had called them and I just paid the $179, but they just told me that I had 12 months to be able to pick where I wanted to go. And so then it was probably like a few months. It was probably like 3, because I purchased the original one in November, because here it said that I had to purchase it by November the 19th. So I probably purchased it on the 19th, and then you have to travel within the 12 months. But because they'll tell you, okay, you can do Orlando, Gatlinburg, Vegas, but I didn't pick anything, even though in my mind I knew I was going to pick Vegas. But then they just started calling me and all that. But then once they sent me the 80,000 points, I was just like, man, you already got me at 80,000. But then once I called, they were just like, you gonna get. So I got my original offer, and then I got the extra offer. And so how do you use the points? And so basically, really the points are just in my portal. And so this is from my portal. And so so they added it. So like when I go to my portal, I would just go over here to like let's say if you're gonna book a hotel. So even if I just go to Hilton, when I come in here, I would just book it. All my points are gonna be in there. So I have like 190 some odd points. Yep. So I have that many points. And so basically, I would just use it just like I did any other thing, because the points are just in my portal. And so now I can just go in and book a hotel. Now, the thing is, I did end up getting, so I got the 130,000 points plus I got the certificate. But I do believe with the certificate, I will have to mail the certificate in so that they will reimburse me for the $200 certificate. So that'll be a little bit different. Yep. So that's how you so that's how you use the points. So it's pretty easy. And so I definitely feel like it was worth it because I got all those points. Now, the only thing is you do have to do the presentation. And so, that's going to be 90 minutes of a presentation, but you got to think because I was there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I left on Friday, but I didn't leave until like 6:00 on Friday. So I really had 4 days to do, whatever. You are welcome. So I think that it was worth it. I did have to spend 90 minutes, to be able to do the presentation. Because once you go in, they'll maybe show you a video and it's maybe like 15 minutes or so. And they're just talking and introducing themselves. And then after that, you'll just go back in the back. And then the guy, he'll be, showing you different, he'll say, well, tell me a little bit about yourself and, what kind of travel, like how many days are you traveling? And so he's just taking information and then he'll say, well, I think that you'll be good for 25,000 points, so they're just going to base it off of, how you travel. And so he had offered me like 25,000 points. And on the one hand, it do sound pretty good because you'll get it was going to be 4 weeks of travel. And then, but you have to pay like $600 and some odd dollars a month. And then you have to pay they have the maintenance fee. And so then that's like $5,000. So then you got to pay for that. So then that's like $600 a month. So that's going to be like $1,100 to $1,200 that you're going to be paying. So I'm just like, no, that ain't nothing that I'm going to be trying to do. And so I was just like, no, I don't think so. Because I'm just like, he was just like, well, why are you, hesitant about it? And I'm just like, it sounds good, but the only thing that I didn't really like was the maintenance fee, because on the one hand as well, those maintenance fee can go up. And so even after you pay off the timeshare, so let's say you pay it off in 10 years, then you still have to pay the maintenance fee. So I was just like, I don't know, because, sometimes you might do 2 trips, you might do 4 trips or 6 trips a year, but maybe you might only do 1. So I'm just like, I don't think that I would want to do it. And so I told him no, maybe like 2 times. And he was very nice. And then he ended up just bringing somebody else in. And then that's when they offered me the, to where I could do, and it could be Hawaii, it could be Cabo, Mexico. And it was like New York and some other places, but I'm just like, I'll probably do Hawaii. And it was 1,800. And so I said, you know what? Because I know me and my sister had been talking about going to Hawaii. And so, because they showed me a few of the Hawaii trips, and over there, those hotels are pretty expensive. And so I was just like, you know what? I think that I would do that. So I signed up for that. And so I'm pretty excited about it. I was able to go to Vegas, and then I was able to go to Arizona, because I had been talking about going to Arizona for a while. And then because I wanted to do Arizona, I wanted to do the Sphere and then the Michael Jackson the one. And then I had just found out about the museum. And so I thought that that was good. And so I did, just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then I did eating and stuff like that. And so it was pretty good. But yeah. But y'all will have to let me know what else is going on. What other kind of trips are y'all getting into? And so some other things, because I said that I wanted to use all points and cash back for my trips. And so I'll say for this trip, so I used when I went, I flew American, and then when I came back, I flew Southwest, and I used points for both of those flights. Then, I was able to, I did pay $179, but then I got the 130,000 points plus the $200 certificate. So I feel like I broke even on that. And so a few other trips that I'm wanting to go on this year, I'm going to want to go to DC. And so last year I had, with the Hilton Honor Surpass, if you spend $15K, then you can get a certificate. And so I had got their certificate. Y'all, let me tell y'all why. So I had called them because I'm talking about going to Vegas. No, I'm talking about going to DC. And so I'm thinking that I'm gonna be able to get, I spent $15K to get this certificate. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna be able to to get whatever kind of room, like maybe I can get a suite and all this kind of stuff. Y'all, I was just cracking up because no, you got to get, so it's just like a standard king. And so I was just like, wow. I was like, that ain't right. Cause I'm like, you spend $15K, but then you can only get like, now on the same hand, cause I picked the Waldorf Astoria in DC, and those rooms. So I want to say the room that I picked was like 110,000 points, but that's only going to be equivalent to $800 or $900, something like that. And so, but I'm just like, on the same hand, if you spend, $15K, I feel like you should be able to get, a suite or something like that. So you'll have to let me know, what do you think in regards to that? And so I'm just like, I don't know that I'm going to be trying to get a certificate this year. So I was just like, I don't know about that one. Let me see. After Gatlinburg, we are going on a cruise, Icon of the Sea. Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, is that with the Royal Caribbean? Which cruise line is that with? I love going on a cruise. I would love to go on a cruise this year. We went on a cruise last year. We had went through Virgin, and that was really good. But because I like Virgin, I love Carnival and Princess. And so I'm ready to go on like a 14-day cruise. So you'll have to let me know, how many days of a cruise are you going to be going on? And so so now I have I have my certificate, and then I have all my points, and I still have points with my IHG. And so, but I only have maybe like 50 or 60,000 points with my IHG. So on the one hand, I'm going to have enough hotel points for hotels, but now I'm kind of running out of points for flights. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm using my Southwest card. So I'm probably using my Southwest card and my American Airlines Platinum card. So even though I would probably like to use my Hilton Honor Surpass so that I can get more hotel points on, right now I think I'm good on hotel points. And so I just need airline points. So So that's what I'm going to do. So when I was in Vegas, I pretty much used my Southwest card. So I took my Southwest card and then I took my Hilton Honor Surpass, since I was staying at the Hilton. And so I did that. But I used my Southwest card for all of my purchases. Now, even though I'm pretty much only going to get 1 times the points, I'm still trying to get points for flights. So I'd rather do that. Okay, so it's Royal Caribbean. It's a new ship and it's going to be for 7 days. Where are you going to be porting out of? I've been on one Royal Caribbean cruise and it was 7 days. We had went to Cuba and I want to say Key West, if I'm not making a mistake, when we had went on the Royal Caribbean. Okay, you're going to be porting out of Florida. That's going to be nice. And you'll have to let me know what all places, where are you going to be going? How many days at sea are you going to have? And so when I go on cruises, for the most part, I don't really want to have a whole lot of days at sea. I want to be going to the different ports. So I would say one of my most favorite cruises that we had went to, this was on, we had ported out of Puerto Rico, and this is on a Carnival cruise, and we only had 1 day at sea. And so we was in Puerto Rico, we had went to St. Martin, St. Kitts, St. Martin, St. Kitts, Barbados. Where else did we go? St. Thomas. And I really like St. Thomas. That was nice. But I said I had to go back to St. Martin because when we had went, we ended up doing like a butterfly tour. And I'm just like, man, I did the butterfly tour. And in St. Martin, where the airport is, there is a beach right there, and you can see the airplanes coming in and see, but we didn't have enough time to do that. And so I was just like, dang. So we kind of missed out on that. And it was really my fault because I said that I wanted to go to the butterfly farm. And I was just like, wow. So, but yeah. But I love going on cruises. And like I said, I'm ready to go on like a 14-day cruise. But the longest cruise that we've been on is maybe like 7 or 8 days. And so this one time we had picked to go, where were we going? But they had ended up canceling the cruise, and it was going to be 10 days. So that was going to be longest that we were going to go. But they had canceled it because that was in 2020. And so we wasn't able to do that one. And then my sister, she was just like, I'm tired of going on cruises. And then so we just went different places. And then last year finally got her to go on a cruise, and we did the Virgin cruise, and we went to Barcelona, and then we just went to the different ports. And so that was cool. Yes. So yeah, but you'll have to let me know where are the different places that you're going to be going to. And let me know, is this your first cruise that you went on? Because that's going to be pretty cool. Let's see, what else is going on? Let me see. And it was funny because I did a video the other day, and I was talking about with my Navy Federal More Rewards card, they had sent me this offer, and I had to spend $200 in gas, and then I was only going to get 2,000 points. But y'all, I only at that time when I had did the video, I probably had only got like $40 worth of gas. And then, like we're right here at the end of the month, and I got gas today, and I probably got $26 worth of gas because I work from home. And so I really don't drive a whole lot. And then plus, since I was out, I was in Vegas last week, I didn't really, I wasn't driving. And so, so I don't think I'm going to make it to the $200. So you'll have to let me know, how much gas do you use in a month. And so even so I would say for April, I really haven't done that much gas because I work from home, but then I'll go to the gym after work. But see, the gym is just right down the street. So it's just like, not really driving a whole lot to where I'm spending that much for gas. Let's see, not my first cruise, but I'm going with my children this time. It's been years since the last time I went. That is so cool because I'm trying to take a family. I want to do a family trip. So I'm trying to do a family trip. And so at first I was talking about going to Orlando so that we can go to Disneyland. But then when I was in Vegas, I was thinking about it, and I'm just like, maybe we could go to Disney World in California because like my niece, she's already been to Florida, and so I'm just like, I really want her to go to a lot, so she's been to Florida, and then we had went to New York last year because my sister had got her PhD, and so the whole family had went, and we had a great time. It was so good. And then she had went to, I want to say she went to Colorado. So I'm just like, I want her to go to some different places. So I was like, instead of us going back to Florida, because she's going to Florida, if we go to Florida, I said maybe we should go to California and go to Disney World opposed to Disneyland. So I'm just trying to get the family to do that, and I think that would be really cool. And so at first I was thinking about doing a family cruise, but we was just like, okay, maybe not a family cruise. And so then I was just like, okay, we'll go to Orlando and we'll go to Disneyland. But I'm kind of thinking to go to California to go to Disney World. So you guys will have to let me know which one do you think will be better. So I'm pretty excited about that, getting that booked and stuff, to make sure we can get everybody on board. Let's see. Oh, I have them backwards. Yeah, because I'm just like, I really I wasn't for sure, but Disney. So Disneyland, you're saying is in California, and Disney World is in Orlando. Okay, yeah, Disney World is in Orlando. Yep. So I got it mixed up. So yeah, so I'm really wanting, because really I was like, well, since she's already been to Florida, because I think she went to they have another theme park in Florida, Magic Kingdom, and she had went to Magic Kingdom. And so I said, well, since she already been to Florida, then maybe we should go to California. And so I'm gonna take a look and see, but I just think it'll be exciting, and she's at a good age. She's 9, to where she'll have a lot of fun. So I'm pretty excited about it. So that's what I'm wanting to do. And then another trip, okay, they have Universal Studios as well. Okay. So we will have to see. Just getting the family together, do a family trip. And so my sister and my brother, my mom, my dad, my stepmom, my niece, and all of us will go, because we had a good time when we went to New York for my sister's graduation. And so I'm just like, we need to do another family trip. And so I kind of want to make it like an annual family trip, but I haven't told them yet. So we'll have to, I got to so we already went on one, but then we'll do another one, and then we'll have to see if we can get it going to do an annual family trip. And so I think that would be kind of cool. Yep. So let's see what else is going on. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here real quick and talk about doing a timeshare presentation. Let me see. It will be very expensive. But you know what? What I was thinking was, it wasn't like that we had to go for a whole long time. And so at first I was thinking about going to Disney World, and that's in Orlando. And so I think that it was, yeah. So it was going to be for 3 days. It was going to be, I think maybe like 10,000. So, but that was not going to be including getting a rental car. So that was going to be for the hotel, for the tickets to Disney World. And so I didn't think that was too bad. Let me see. Silky Black, well, thank you so much for stopping by. And, hopefully you'll subscribe and come by and check out some of the other videos. But most definitely have fun on your cruise. But yeah. And so, but I think that it'll be fun to, go on a family trip. And so I think that's the main thing. Because I was just like, even when me and my sister had went to Barcelona last year, because I'm just like, the two of us going on that trip, that was kind of, expensive just for the two of us. So I'm just like, we could probably do a whole family trip for the amount that we paid for that Barcelona trip. And so that's where it really got me to thinking. And I was just like, we need to do, you are so welcome. Let's see. What is the fastest way to remove inquiries? I think the first thing is, one, I would just pull my credit, but then you would have to actually pull your credit to see, are those valid inquiries? Because if they are valid inquiries, then for myself, I don't know how you would be able to do it. But if it's not a valid inquiry, then you can do the dispute. And so you can go, you want to pull your credit report to see, is it on all of your credit reports? So is it on TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian? And then if it's not a valid inquiry, then you can do a dispute. And so you can go onto the website, and it's pretty it'll walk you through how to do a dispute. But in my opinion, if it's a valid inquiry, then in my mind, I feel like if it's valid, you got to keep it on there, in my opinion. But you will have to take a look. And so that's why I think that it's very important that we do pull our credit report so that we can see what's on there and then check it out to see if everything is valid. And I really like going on to the Experian site to pull. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Let me see. If I didn't get approved, it's not valid. That's hilarious. Now, I don't know about that. I can't necessarily say in that aspect, but I get what you are saying, because you know what? But see, I think it was kind of my fault on the one hand. I know that it was my fault because so I think right now I only have 2 inquiries, but man, one of those inquiries was Capital One. And because I don't have any Capital One credit cards, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna apply for, so I had applied for the Venture Capital One credit card. But see, the thing is, when I had went on the site, I was like, well, I'm gonna do the pre-approval. But when I did the pre-approval, they didn't approve me for that one. They had approved me for some other ones. But I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and try. And I'm just like, man, that was kind of crazy to do it anyway. And I didn't get approved, but then they tried to approve me for another card for like 3,000. I'm just like, well, I'm not gonna take that because that's not what I wanted. And so it's still on there. So I got 2 inquiries, and I'm just like, that is cold-blooded. Let me see. Dispute the ones you don't have. Now that I'm not for sure, because but when I read this, it says dispute the ones you don't have active accounts. Because are you stating that you had let me see. Oh, you have 28 inquiries for car shopping. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Now, that's the only thing that I don't like. if you are, I think that's why you should, I think that's why anybody, and for myself, I'm with Navy Federal, but I think even if you can't get on with Navy Federal, I think that you should get on with a credit union. Um, and do it that way so that you can get a check from the credit union to take to the auto dealer. And so you'll be approved through your credit union so that when you go to the dealership, they're not running your credit, because that's pretty much, that's horrible. Um let me see. So you said my score didn't go down that. Oh, let me see. So my score didn't go down that much. Navy Federal said I had too many inquiries. Wow. Yeah, I think that possibly what you can do, you possibly could do a dispute. You can possibly do that, but that's kind of a tricky one for me, because on the one hand they were really trying to shop it to see if they could get you approved, but it's just like, dang, that they have to do it 28 times. That is crazy. My score did not go down that much. And with the new credit, that's only 10% of your credit score, so it's not going to hurt that much, especially if your credit score is better. So when I had applied for that Capital One credit card, that's kind of what my mindset was. I'm just like, with my credit score being higher, I wasn't going to worry about it anyway. But I'm just like, still, I got an inquiry that I didn't want, but I would for sure be mad if I had 28 inquiries on there. Ex-wife got them for 60K. Woo. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. Dang. Yeah. I would because especially since you didn't gotta get the car, but it's just like, to me, on the one hand, I would say that it's valid because they were trying to shop it. But maybe what I can do is I can take a look and see. But you can always do the dispute, or you can go on to the Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion site to see, well, what do they say about like the car inquiries. But then I think that that's crazy that you're saying the Navy Federal didn't even approve you because they're saying that you had too many inquiries on there. Mm-mm-mm. But they usually drop off after 2 years. But then, that's quite a bit of time for you not to be able to apply for stuff. But you'll have to let me know. Have you been trying to apply for other credit cards and things like that and had a hard time? And possibly, since you have all those inquiries on there, then probably. But that is not cool. And so when I had got my auto loan through Navy Federal, I had just got the check, so it's pretty good. And so your internal score, what about your internal score with Navy Federal? Do you think that do you think you have have you gotten your internal score? But it's like, on the same hand, even if your internal score is high with Navy Federal, if they're not going to approve you for the loan, then okay, it's too low. Yep. Yep. Mm-mm-mm. But you know what? What I really would do, because you would have to really take a look at your credit report, because would you say that that's the only thing on your credit report? Because it's just like, how long ago did you go to get a car and they did those inquiries? Because it seems like after so long, it doesn't really impact you as much. And then even with it being a car, it would seem like some inquiries wouldn't hurt as much as others. Let's see. Yeah. Especially with you having no debt. That is pretty interesting. And then how would you say your credit utilization is? Well, no, yeah, you don't have no credit utilization because you don't have any debt. Yep. So that's pretty interesting because it's just like, especially with Navy Federal, it seems like I would really talk to them to see, like what could you do? Because it seems like they would still be able to approve you. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, that is pretty crazy that you weren't able to get approved. But it's just like I would really have to look at my overall credit report because it would seem like why would the 28 inquiries be holding you back if everything else is good? But then you'll have to say, like, what is your actual credit score? Do you have a higher credit score? Let's see. Those Navy Federal accounts as authorized user are still on my credits. Wow. So are you saying that you have a lot of authorized users on your account? Those Navy Federal accounts as authorized user are still on my account. Or were you an authorized user from somebody's account? So you'll have to let me know if I'm reading that correctly. So it says those Navy Federal accounts as an authorized user on her accounts. Okay. But if her credit is good, is it helping you to be an authorized user? And I think that that's very important because I was talking about improving our credit scores in another video. And I think that if you know somebody and so your ex-wife, if she has good credit, no, she owes. So it's like I would see if she can remove you. So yeah, so even though you have low utilization by you being on her account, yeah, that's pulling you down. So I would say that's the number one thing. If you're gonna be an authorized user on somebody's account, you want to make sure that they have low utilization, good payment history, because basically she's pulling your credit down. Because especially with you not having any utilization on your account, your credit score should be high. So I would see, I don't know how if you guys are in good standings. Oh wow, it says terminated responsibility. Wow. Mm-mm-mm. Man, is there any way that she would be able to remove you? And so I think in this case, this is where being an authorized user can go wrong. So this really didn't help you in your favor. I really hate to hear that. But I will have to see how in the world can you get removed off of that credit, off of her card as authorized user, and then that way you can be able to rebuild your credit back up. Because with you being on hers, this is not helping you out at all. That is not good. But I think and I think that's a tricky part of when you are being an authorized user, because while somebody's credit, because possibly at the time her credit was good, and so then she put you on the card, and then next thing you know, she wasn't doing that good. Let me see. I was in the hospital for 4 months. Oh no. Okay. Well, I hope that you're doing better. Wow. And so she ran up the credit and messed you up. Man, that's not right. And so, you know what though? I would possibly see, because if she went crazy on your account and you were in, especially if you can prove that you were in the hospital, you might be able to dispute that. So I would possibly take a look at that. I would possibly, so now that you provided some more information, I don't know, I maybe would consider, so I would just pull my credit report and see what's on there. And then especially if those charges were while you were in the hospital, I would consider disputing those, because that is not good whatsoever. Okay. So yes, I have the medical records. Yeah, so I would really consider, because you would be able to dispute those charges because you were in the hospital. So I would take a look at that, go on to, I will pull your credit report to see, is it on all of your credit reports, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and then possibly you can give them a call and state, I see that on this day I have these charges, but these are not the charges, that I did, and I have the proof, to where I can show, due to dispute. And then you might have to provide the documentation, but you actually have the medical records. Now, on the same hand, since it's your ex-wife, that might be a little bit tricky too. But I would rather, try, because that's pretty tough. So, wow. Oh man. So my credit is a 660 and hers is a 340. Ooh. Wow. So she really went crazy. I hate to hear that. But your score is not, a 660. That's better than a 340. Wow. Yeah, that's tough. So yes, I would definitely, you most definitely can write a book. Yes, you can. But I would say I would start off with, I would even try to freeze your credit, because you don't want nothing else hitting your credit. But I think I would probably pull my credit first, and then I would sit down and write everything out, and then, create a plan from there. Because especially since you were in the hospital, but if you are on her credit card or vice versa, and she is an authorized user, then you might not be able to dispute it. Oh, Calvin said that too. Yeah. So, but I would first gather all of the information, and then, just kind of go from there. So I would just gather it all. And then I would take a look to see, because especially since you guys, I don't know if y'all was married at the time and how that could work out. So that's really tricky. But I definitely hope that you can get that resolved. But I will say, even 660, I mean, it's not good, but that's better than where she's at. And so I would just make sure all of the other aspects of your credit are good, and then just kind of go there. But I would really possibly see about doing a dispute on those. Yep. Well, all right. So we've been on for an hour. I know that it's late, but I just wanted to come on and chit chat with you guys. Wow. Okay. She has 2 repos. Yep. So that's not good. So that's why her credit score is so low. Woo. But yeah. So let me know, because in the beginning we were talking about the timeshare presentation. And so what I did, I ended up actually paying $179 for the Hilton Honor Grand Vacation. And then I ended up getting 130,000 points with a $200 certificate. And so you'll have to let me know, do you think that it was worth it? And have you done a timeshare presentation before? And I want to give a shout out to Silky Black for joining. And let me see. Kareem, I hope that you have a good rest of the weekend as well, and happy Easter. And I hope that you can most definitely get that taken care of. But I thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.